Sega.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom64.
I'm the Flamethrower.
And I'm Richie.
And welcome to the first Sonic playthrough for HellfireComms of 2020. Sorry it's taken us so long, guys. There's just been a lot on our plate, I guess. This is Sonic Rivals for the PlayStation Portable, the good old PSP that Sony didn't give a shit about, and then made another console and didn't really give a shit about that. I don't think there were any, exclusive Sonic games on the Vita, which is a bit sad, but anywho, Rivals is basically a 2D racer sort of thing. The closest thing in the series I can liken it to is the multiplayer mode in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But Flame, as we can obviously see on screen here, there are multiple stories, so how are we going to do this exactly? How is this playthrough going to be structured?
Okay, so basically the way that Sonic Rivals works, if you're playing it yourself without any of this fancy trickery I'm doing, is that there are the 4 stories that are functionally the same. Like, the cutscenes are a little bit different, and that's why I'm going to be showing off the cutscenes from each of the stories. But the levels are almost entirely the same. In fact, the only difference I can think of is the character-specific power-ups, which are barely worth mentioning. But yeah, what I'm doing is I'm going to be alternating which character I'm showing the level from level to level, just so we get to see a little bit of everyone without spending 4 hours on a game that has about 1 hour's worth of content.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. Now, I've played this. Obviously, Flame played this because he recorded it. Richie, what's your experience with Rivals, mate?
Absolutely no experience with this game. I just know that it exists. I know that Flame has been saying, oh yeah, we're going to cover Rivals next for years. And that's basically my experience of Sonic Rivals. Like, as much as I have been part of the Sonic fan base, so to speak, for a long time now, I don't really go too far onto the fringes of the games, and I'd say this is definitely on the fringes. And to be honest, I never actually had a PSP, so it wouldn't have happened anyway. The only reason that I ever really played on the PSP was because I borrowed my dad's to play Birth by Sleep, because I was not missing out on my Kingdom Hearts goodness.
Indeed, mate, indeed. Now, as you can see, there's various interpretations of scenes and whatnot. I guess they're implied to happen at different times, but story-wise, it's a bit schlocky, even for a Sonic game. Eggman has a thing that he wants to turn into cards. That's basically it. And it's really weird, because there's not really much card functionality apart from collecting them. So it feels like a gimmick that was made for a different game. It fell through, and then they put it in this one. Also, Silver's here.
He sure is, for some reason. That's sort of vaguely touched upon with the same bullshit excuses they like to pull out whenever they want to bring Silver back. And I just think, kind of at this point in the Sonic series, they've brought him back in TSR as well, last year. So they're still using him. Just make it canon that he stays in Sonic's timeline. All his friends are here, so he might as well, you know?
Yeah, or I guess his parents are dead, everyone he knows and loves is dead in the future, so why not go back in time, as in Colours DS, and see a Bishing theme park? Anywho, enough Silver lore. Walk us through how you first got into Rivals, and what do you think of the gameplay in general, Flame?
Well, Rivals for me, it's a bit of a meme game, let's be honest here, and the fact that I've been pestering you to cover Rivals since before I was in the group myself kind of sums that up. But it's one of them games that I barely played on my PSP when I had it. I think I got it on the cheap years later because it was on sale on a digital thing or something. This playthrough here, I'm not actually playing this on a PSP because I only have the original model one, which doesn't have the video out. I'm actually playing this on my PlayStation TV, which is why the video quality is a bit shit, so you'll have to bear with me there. It can't upscale Vita games very well, let alone PSP stuff.
That's fair, mate.
Rivals is the epitome of middle-of-the-road, average 5 out of 10. It works, it's a game, it has Sonic in it, you go, right, it's literally nothing to write home about, but it's got that perfect balance of, I'm trying to say this nicely, but it is a bit dull, but it's dull to an art. It's the perfect balance. The gameplay, as we're seeing here, it's racing gameplay, so when I usually play the 2D Sonic games for the channel, you notice that I tend to have a habit of trying to get as clean of a rundown as possible. Don't even bother trying that with this game. Your goal is to just get to the end by any means possible.
Whoa.
Because the AI, when it's behind you, it is full-on genius AI. It rubber bands right behind you as quickly as it can. When it's in front of you, it's rock fucking stupid. But like, it feels like the AI makes up where it wants to be as it goes along. So yeah, just try and use any tricks available to you, even if that means damage boosting, spamming jumps, whatever you got to do.
Well, that certainly was an S-tier run, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have anything to fucking compare it to. Knuckles leather suit unlocked. Hell yes. This is the kind of shit I like. And you're not wrong calling it like a middle-of-the-road sort of game, because I'm looking at the reception here. It currently sits at a comfy 64 out of 100 on Metacritic. Let's see, what was the highest score it got from like main review sites? 7.4 out of 10 from IGN.
Oh, that's nice. Like, isn't that higher than what they gave Unleashed?
Yes. I'm still of the opinion that there was some animosity from 06 lingering when Unleashed came out. You know, it's still there today, but especially that soon after release. And it kind of bled in to Unleashed, because Unleashed has its share of problems, and let's not beat about the bush here, but it's not 06 tier.
Oh no.
Well, I think the thing with Unleashed is that it felt like, to a certain degree, it was a bit missold in the previews, because there was a lot of this stuff about, like, they were showing off the Day Sonic and all the fast-paced gameplay that people were really excited for. Like, it looked like a really polished game after 06 had let everyone down, and then it wasn't until a lot later that they mentioned, oh yeah, we got this werehog, and he has, like, combat gameplay. And that was the start of what now is a bit of an exaggerated meme, like the Sonic cycle. I think that was like the first example of that being a thing for real, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, I mean, looking at this, it does very much seem to be the epitome of mediocrity. Because, like, level design, like, I mean, I suppose level themes look alright, but, like, level designs don't look very interesting. Gameplay-wise, it just looks, it's alright. Obviously, the plot's told through still text-based kind of scenes, so it definitely doesn't appear anything special, but just looks purely functional, so I totally get where you're coming from on that one.
I will say it's aesthetically clean. Like, I like the presentation of it, and there are multiple routes you can take through the levels and whatnot, but once you find the one that works for you, there's no real reason to experiment. Are there any optional, like, cards you can pick up in the levels, Flame?
Not in the levels themselves. As far as I recall, the cards are unlocked just by, like, it's basically an achievement system from what I recall. As you can tell by the fact that I'm trying to vaguely recall this from memory, I've never gone out of my way to unlock all the cards. The only one I remember is the one that we've all had our own turn dunking on, the Maria one. Because
I was literally just about to go to Google and find that, oh, we got the cheese one. He was not ready for that photo to be taken.
No, that was like the, oh god, there's a camera, what the fuck. But yeah, I will say in terms of presentation, it's quite hit and miss. Some of the levels look fine, like Forest Falls that we've just been through, that is just Green Hill again. Some of the levels later on are quite pretty to look at, other ones are a bit bland, but we've got our lead up to our first boss here.
Delightful.
Once the characters stop text boxing at each other.
Oh, they'll do it until the end of time, mate. Speaking of text boxes, by the way, thank you for adding your own at the top right of the video here, which basically explains when we bop over to each person's story and see from their perspective.
Yeah, that was because when I did my own LP of this a few years ago, I realised that following the cutscenes along became a bit of a mess, so I thought, let's make it crystal clear so you know exactly what you're watching. Even if it is Sonic Rifle's story, so you're probably not paying too much attention.
You know, I gotta say, I'm fiending for a Sonic game. right about now, but Sega is staying stum like they never have before. Even Forces got a few things teased before they eventually showed it, but there's been fuck all. And I realise there's a pandemic going on right now when we record this, but I don't know, throw an Entom a bone, please. I need my blue hedgehog going fast.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with pandemic right now. You don't get to see any Sonic game.
Yeah, it's all about me. So how does this boss work, mate? Is it working on a point system here?
Yeah, so this is an incredibly bizarre boss system. The way it works is you see that Silver's still there as your rival character and the bosses. What you've got to do is get 6 hits on the boss before Silver gets 6 hits on the boss.
Huh.
It doesn't really make sense in context, but I suppose they just want to carry over the having a rival theming into the boss itself. It just means that sometimes it takes him 6 hits to die, sometimes it takes him 11.
Well, why couldn't it have been a perfect 5, like first to 5?
I don't know. I guess like maybe it was the sort of thing that they felt that went a bit quick and they wanted to buff it up a little bit. I'm not sure. There's probably a reason. Silver looked oddly like taken back in that profile picture a minute ago.
It's like, whoa, my ancestor.
Well, it's because it's Silver. Also, can I just point out that Eggman in that mech was basically like basically like origami. You could see the fold in his face, and he just looked like sort of a bit of origami.
To be fair, they've done that before.
Whoa. You were implying that they didn't use a 4K HD resolution sprite for Eggman in this PlayStation Portable game?
Well, I mean, the least they could have done is go with, like, similar character model to, the player characters. Even though, like, for some reason, Shadow seems to have, like, a different colour on his face to his spines. Like, it's notably greyer than his spines. It might just be the lighting that they've got going on, but considering, it's not really a huge amount going on, it's just one of those things I'm just looking at and going, okay, that's a choice.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed, Rich, but they also gave Sonic blue eyes and they ruined him forever. Or green eyes, even.
Well, you had a joke going there, Flame. Kind of flubbed it at the last moment there by tripping over your own tongue.
Yeah, well, I do that. You don't expect me to be actually funny, do you?
No, that's... Actually, which one of us is the funny one, exactly?
Well, it's definitely not me.
I don't know, a lot of people laugh at me, but,
Yeah, same. Us two together equals one half funny guy, I suppose. My god, even for a game about racing, there is sure a lot of, hey, you are bad, I will race against you now.
Yeah, and some of the reasons do feel a little bit contrived, but they need to get the racing gimmick in, so for a dumb racing game, I can kind of look past that.
Now, I will say, just like flat out, I prefer Rivals 2 to 1, because I feel it has like better tropes level-wise and so on. And the story's a wee bit better, but otherwise, same gameplay-wise. Nice slow motion you got going on here, Knuckles, but should we ever come to Rivals 2, I'll talk about stuff there. How do you feel about the music in the game, Flame?
This is a Jintanoi soundtrack, which for the most part tend to be some of my favourite soundtracks in Sonic. This is absolutely his weakest link, I will say. And it's not even like it's necessarily bad, it's just... it's okay, like it fits Sonic Rivals. It's the Sonic Rivals of soundtracks in its own way, so, like it's... you got a bit of guitar going on, you've got a bit of synth going on, it's okay, but for a Sonic racing game, I kind of would have preferred something a bit more.
Bit more what exactly, Flame? You need to be specific here.
Well, I don't know how to properly critique music, so if I were to give a description, it would be a lot of nothing flubbery, like a bit more oomph, a bit more power to it. I don't fucking know, but like
a bit more spice.
Yeah, it feels like elevator racing game music in a way. It's just got no distinct real melody to it. It's just a bit
Yeah, no, I can sort of get what you're feeling, and you will be right in saying it needs a little bit more oomph. Like, it does just feel very one note and flat, I suppose. Like, there's a lot of like the more popular and successful Sonic songs and Sonic soundtracks succeed because they have very recognisable melodies, but also they grow and develop, I suppose, over the course of the song in a way. So, like, you say Rooftop Run, someone could immediately just go da 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 da. Like, you're able to do that, whereas I don't think, from what I'm able to hear of Sonic Rivals, that you would ever really be able to do that for any of the songs in here, and that's probably part of the flaw, because it just doesn't come across as being notable enough. Like, there's nothing to latch on to as a hook.
I can give you a memorable tune for 2, but again, that's 2, so...
We know it's Race to Win, and that's the only thing I remember from Rivals 2, because I haven't actually played Rivals 2 myself. I have it on my PS TV, I downloaded it around the same sort of time as this one, but I just don't got around to it yet, so maybe that's one that we'll come back to later down the line.
Maybe.
I mean, to be honest, like, considering, we are in this Sonic game drought, we might as well if we have time.
We have some other games lined up first before we do that, though, so you will get something a little bit more exciting before more Rivals, don't worry, guys.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. God, how is he so fast?
I don't know, this is completely undoing how we worked in 06, I can say that much, but the character gameplay itself, they all function basically the same. Like, even the characters who aren't known for having a homing attack, like when we play as Knuckles, and I guess Silver as well, they are also Sonic and Shadow clones in this game. The only difference, as I mentioned earlier, they do have character-specific attacks that they can use alongside the ones that everyone gets. So they all get like the Fireball and the Ice Block and stuff like that, but Sonic gets a boost, Shadow gets Chaos Control, Knuckles gets this like ground pound thing, and Silver gets something. I can't remember what.
I'm going to hazard a guess it's going to be like some form even of psychokinesis.
It might be, actually. It might be that power that obscures the screen a bit. Again, like, a lot of Sonic Rivals gameplay just sort of blends into itself, so remembering what comes from what is its own task.
Truly, that's the hardest race of all. The race for truth. The race for perspective.
Race to come in, like, maybe 6 out of 12.
Well, no. There can only be like 2 on screen at once. This isn't like Riders or anything.
It also is a PSP game, and to be fair, I think with one Rubber Band AI character fucking you over, that's enough. This game can get quite tricky because of that, so maybe having like loads of other characters who also jump ahead of you at the last second, I think I might have just thrown the PSP out the fucking window at that point.
Yeah, I left Rubber Band AI behind with the likes of Mario Kart 64. Man, how long is this gonna go on? Oh, you got a new record, you happy with it?
Yeah, I feel so accomplished.
Nice. I'm gonna wear that card and it will give me nothing, I guess. Good job.
I don't know, like, it's showing off Sonic 2, that's a fun game, right?
We all get a chance to talk to him, don't worry.
It's fine, Eggman's used to getting beaten up, he can have, like, we can all have a go, like, one at a time, it's fine.
Like, I mean, he's not exactly going anywhere, he's just going to be there with his oddly textured moustache.
Are you going to bring that up throughout the whole thing, Rishi? Because I'm never going to be able to unnotice this now.
It does look a bit plasticky.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. Like, all of the character models look perfectly in line with what they normally look like. Like, maybe a little bit, plasticky, but not too excessive. But then you look at Eggman and it's just like, bloody hell, who covered you in shrink wrap?
Yeah. Well, I think that's because they're not using in-game models for these, like, pictures. They're using, like, CGI renders, I want to say. And Eggman's looks like his one from Heroes, which had a similar kind of aesthetic going on.
Yeah, I wonder if that is the case, which, I mean, is strange, considering, it's not going to be that hard to create a decent, thing of Eggman, but...
So some of the models they use for the promotional art of this game do feel a little bit weirdly posed. Like, I'm using them when I flash up the image on the screen, like during the cutscenes. They're the official Rivals models. I don't know, like, it's hard to pinpoint what it is. Maybe the characters look a little bit slimmer. This boss is fucking annoying, by the way, because like you can't pass through the platforms like you usually can in 2D games. So you gotta time your jumps through them. But yeah, like some of the art direction, it feels a little bit like it doesn't feel like there's much of an art style. It feels like it's just like, yep, that's Sonic, that's Knuckles.
Kind of paint by numbers, would you say?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, just again a recurring trend with everything about Rivals. It does the job. It's there.
Like, at this point in time, like, what year did this come out in? Because I feel like Rush was roughly around the same time.
This was 06. This was November, December 2006.
Yeah, December 1st for us. Happy day. Who's going to get Rivals in their Christmas hamper?
I mean, what a great year 2006 was for Sonic in general.
But yeah, I mean, I suppose the sort of development bit for how it all came about is kind of interesting. I suppose so. Collaborative effort between Sega and Backbone Entertainment. Concept originated from a traditional platform game that had been designed. But then Izuka became involved and wanted it to be a racing game. So majority of development was handled by Backbone with assistance from Sega Studio USA, though story was done by Sega. They chose to use the PSP over the DS because it had stronger processing power and higher graphical quality, because, you know, used it to such great extent. Basically, they just wanted to return to the gameplay style of original Sonic games, but with new elements such as competition. Sega provided them with level design maps from all of the 2D games as reference, and Backbone looked to all of the games up to Sonic Rush for inspiration.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing that in the level design particularly, maybe in the aesthetics, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that's about all they really... I think probably the only thing they actually got out of that is the idea of alternate paths. But they said that was challenging, with the goal of allowing as many rivalry interactions as possible, because obviously alternate paths, and when you know, wanting people to clash, little bit difficult.
Well, that's why I think there's so many like screen attack kind of attacks that you can use. Like the ground pound thing Knuckles has hits a wide area around him. You got Shadow's chaos control and whatnot. So that seems to be like a logical way of working around that problem, even if it does mean it gets a little bit annoying at times. So basically we're all getting walked to the carnival. That's what this like series of cutscenes is saying here. Like I've been through all these cutscenes multiple times just to get all this footage put together, and I can still barely remember what happens in each of them. That's how like apathetic I am towards the story.
I'd much rather be going to a carnival night, I'm going to be honest with you.
I would say casino night is more interesting than carnival night.
I don't know, I'm a 3K stan, but I know you don't care for the game because you're a fucking Philistine.
I just like Sonic 2 and CD and one more, and you don't have enough time left in the part to argue that.
Oh, damn it, he's right, but you know, Sonic 3K is better than all those he's mentioned. Alright guys, see you next time for another part of Sonic Rivals, bye.
I win.
Fuck!